Section 2. Laws, Regulations, Site Conditions, Permits, and Taxes. Article 6. Laws and Site Conditions. 6.1. Laws and Regulations. In general, the contractor shall comply with all laws in so far as they are binding upon or affect the parties or the work. He shall also comply with the regulations of firms furnish utilities such as water, gas, telephone, and electricity for the project. If the contractor performs any work contrary to such law and utilities regulation, he shall bear all additional costs arising therefrom. 6.2. Site conditions. Before the bidding and the awarding of the contract, the contractor is expected to have visited the project site and made his own estimate of the facilities required in a difficulty attending and execution of the work. On accounting of local condition and all other contingencies, the owner shall, however, furnish the contractor's geodetic survey and subsurface exploration which contractor may rely upon in the Article 7. Permits, taxes, and surveys. 6.1. Permits and license. The owner with contractor's assistance shall secure and pay all construction permits and license necessary for the execution of the work of any temporary work and in relation to thereof. The contractor shall secure the final occupant's permit, but he shall not responsible to the owner if without his fault the license is not issued or there was a delay in the issues. 7.2. Taxes. Wherever the law of the place where the project is located requires sales, consumer use, or other similar tax related or pertinent only to the construction of the project, the contractor shall pay such tax. 7.3. Construction stakes and reference mark. The owner shall furnish all surveys describing physical characteristics, legal limitation, and utility location of the site. He shall also furnish right-of-way for access to the site. The owner shall be responsible for the establishment of lot lines, boundaries lines, and benchmarks, which shall he made by certificate surveyor. The owner may request the contractor to verify before the start of the construction the result of such surveys provided the owner shall pay for the cost of such verification. The owner shall also pay for any damage or cost for the constructor brought about by 7.4. Services of geodetic engineer. The contractor shall, at his option or when he or she is so required under the contract, engage the service of the licensed geodetic engineer to confirm the certify the location of column centers, piers, walls, pits, trench, pipeworks, utility lines, and other form of similar nature. The geodetic engineer shall also verify and certify the lines levels of any part of the work at any time if he or she is required by the owner. The certification shall be provided by the owner and the contractor. If the geodetic engineer finds any deviation from the drawing in the work or the contractor, he shall report his findings to the owner within 24 hours from discovery. 14.4. Limitation of uses. The contractor shall confine his apparatus, the storage of materials, and the operation of his workmen to limit the indicated law or direction of the owner and shall not unreasonably encumber the work premises with his materials. 14.2. Safeguards for structures. The contractor shall not load or permit any part of the structure to be loaded with a weight that will endanger the safety. The contractor shall enforce the owner's safety instructions regarding signs, advertisements, fires, and smoking. Article number 15. Temporary structure and facilities. 15.1. Temporary office and contractors building. The contractor shall take into account that location, size, and site at all times provide and maintain adequate weight-right temporary office with necessary basic facilities such as water, light, and phone. When practicable or depending upon the nature and complexity of the project, the owner may require the contractor to comply with the requirements, temporary structures, facilities, and provided for his contract. 15.1. Temporary office and contractors building. The contractor shall take into account that location, size, and site at all times provide and maintain adequate weight-right temporary office with necessary basic facilities such as water, light, and phone. When practicable or depending upon the nature and complexity of the project, the owner may require the contractor to comply with the requirements, temporary structures, facilities, and provided for his fees. 15.1. Temporary office and contractors building. The contractor shall take into account that location, size, and site at all times provide and maintain adequate weight-right temporary office with necessary basic facilities such as water, light, and phone. When practicable or depending upon the nature and complexity of the project, the owner may require the contractor to comply with the requirements, temporary structures, facilities, and provided for his contract. 15.2. Temporary housing for workers. The temporary building for housemen or the erection of tents or other form of protection within the permitted only at such places as the owner shall design, provided, however, that if no particular area is designated, the contractor may use his own discretion in determining such as area in consultation with the owner. The sanitary condition of the ground in or about such structure, the project site shall at all times be maintained in a manner satisfactory to the owner. Nobody shall allow to sleep or cook within the building line. 15.3. Safety and sanitation. The contractor shall form a commencement of work and unit and until his completion. They should furnish and put all the temporary barricades and guard lights necessary for the protection, proper prosecution, and completion of the work. They should also maintain guard lights at the top of the falsework tower, barricades, railing, and provide and maintain a sanitary toilet accommodation in other necessary convenience, including water connection for use of personnel and laborers of the work, properly secured, and public observation in such manner and other points as shall be provided by the owner, and they shall be strictly enforced. They should also keep such places clean and free from flies. They should also remove all the connection and appliances connected for the completion of the work. 15.4. Temporary signs. No signs and advertisement will be allowed to be displayed within the owner's approval. The contractor may erect and paint signs giving the names and address of the owner, contractor, 15.5 Temporary or trial usage. Temporary or trial usage of the owner of any mechanical device, machinery, apparatus, equipment, or any work or material supplied by the contractor before final completion and written acceptance by the owner shall not be construed or evidence that the owner has accepted it. Such test run shall be made by the owner for such a reasonable length of time as the owner shall deem necessary. The owner shall not be liable for injury to or breaking of any part of such work which may be caused by the weakness or inaccuracy of the structural parts or by the defective materials or workmanship. Section 5. Protection of work and property. Article number 16. Protection of work and owner's property. 16.1. Safeguard measurement. The contractor shall take all responsible measure to protect from the damage of the work of the owner's property and the owner's equipment, materials, appliances, and fixtures supplied or paid for by the owner, and shall make good and any damage, injury, or loss, and they also should accept such as may be caused by the agent or employees of the owner or due to the cause of considerate act of God. B. Provide reliable and competent watchmen to guard the site and premises. Provide all doorways with the locks and under his control and lock such doors at the close of each day's work. However, that if the owner deems the security service incompetence, the contractor shall increase or change the security personnel. C. Prohibit smoke at the site, and signs to this effect shall be posted around. Letter D. Prohibit fires built on the site except by the express consent of the owner. E. Provide and maintain in work order and adequate number of firefighting equipment, and such equipment shall not be used for any other purposes. 16.2. Old materials of value as determined through the joint inventory by the owner and the contractor found at the work site shall be carefully stored at the place designated by the owner, and the contractor shall be responsible for their safekeeping until the final acceptance of the work. 16.3. Trees and other plants. Existing trees, plants, shrubs, or etc., which are the remain of the site shall be boxed and otherwise protected from damage. No trees with the site located outside the building line shall be cut or removed without the specific approval from the owner. 16.4. Drainage. If it's necessary, the prosecution of the work to interrupt or obstruct the natural flow of the river or stream, the drainage of the surface of the flow, artificial drains, the contractor shall do so in such way that no damage shall be result to either public or private interest. 17.1. Contractor responsibility. The contractor shall adequately protect the adjacent property as provided by the law and the contract. Any neighboring property or building which may be jeopardized in any manner must be thoroughly and substantially protected against damage during the construction at the contractor's expenses. 17.2. Contractor shall be liable for any pay of all damage and existing any damage in the existing utilities occasioned and mannered by his act or neglect or by that of his agents, employees, and workmen. 17.3 Condition Survey. Prior to commencement of the work of the contractor shall in so far as is legally and physically possible survey and ascertain of the condition of any existing adjacent properties or building and record the result through photographic record or by any other means. Article 18. Protection of life, work, and property during an emergency. 18.1. Authorization to contractor. In emergency endangering life, the work of the adjoining property, the contractor, even without special instruction or authorization from the owner, shall act to prevent or minimize such threatening loss or injury. Emergency work performed by the contractor shall be treated as one of performed under the change order unless the emergency was caused or brought by about his fault or neglect